Hi guys, it's Charnstar from FTV Facilities Brisbane here with another Tutorial Tuesday. Today we're going to be going through rolling cables. Under, over, all of them. So we're going to start off with our extension lead. So extension leads are rolled over, under. The reason we want to roll over, under is theoretically you can hold one end, and if you were to throw it, it would completely unravel. You want to place the cord in your open left hand. You do it left hand. I don't know how to translate for left-handers, so sorry in advance. Place it in your left hand, palm up, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna roll out, so just smoothly. So this is just to heat up the cable a little and to make it a little bit more loose if there are any kinks in there. So we're gonna run our hands down it, go around, don't have to twist or anything, and just have a nice loop like that. You want it about elbow length. And the reason you want it elbow length is that if it's any shorter, we're not going to be able to wrap our Velcros around it. And if it's any longer, it's not going to fit in the walls in our racks. So we want it about elbow length. And now to go under, what we're going to do is we're going to run our arm down it again. And as we bring it back around, we're going to twist our hand into it. So the back of your hand is now at your open hand. And now you've got your over. You should see this in your palm as now the next one is over it. Now we go over again and under. Over, and we're always running our hands down, heating that up, and under. Over, under, until the whole cord's done. I've now realized now I have to do this. Let's play it back in fast motion. I just have janky arms, guys. Don't worry if you look more or less janky than I do, because I just have janky arms. There we go, we now have a loop-a-de-loop, and if we were to throw that out, I don't want to try it because I just did this. If you were to throw it, it would completely unravel. So if you happen to mess up your rhythm while rolling it, so if you do an over or an under, what's gonna happen is your cords are gonna get tangled. So when you throw it out, it's not gonna throw out as one even loop. It's gonna throw out and get stuck at one point and fall on the ground and look real dumb. And you don't want that. Our next one is our XLR. Now XLR is also an over-under. This is generally because XLRs are used a lot on stage and in theaters. That's because you wanna throw your cords like so. That one was a poorly rolled one, and you can tell because it stopped halfway. I don't know, can you guys tell? I could tell. So once again, you hold it in one hand, you do one loop. Now, what I've just realized with that one there is even though I ran my hand down there and I went to bring it together, you can see that it's kind of catching itself right there and not an even loop. And that's because being metal, they have a memory to them. So they're gonna remember how they were rolled last, and they kind of get into a shape and feel of things. So that's why we actually roll these down like this to heat them up. But there's no point in fighting their rhythm if the rhythm works. So if you notice that the first turn is actually gonna be under, just go and under, and now you're back into the rhythm. Ooh, now I can already tell that this is the point where it's actually messing up. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just run my fingers down it really fast and look really uncomfortable. And now that's heating it up. Because it's a metal, now it's slightly more malleable, and we're gonna be able to go back into an under. Now it's a nice little cord ready for putting away and being thrown across a stage. Last but definitely not least, because it's always the hardest one, is the SDI. Now this one is rolled over. Now, although you would think it being over, it sounds like you just roll it without thinking if the first roll is over. It's actually a lot more difficult than that. The reason we roll these ones over is so you can sit them at a pile on the ground and connect it into two different ends, and it should just unravel easily as a camera walks away. This is called the pinch and twist method. We run down to about arm's length. That's gonna give us a nice little loop. And what we're gonna do is we're gonna pinch it with your right hand between your thumb and your index finger, and then we're gonna twist your wrist around to get it back there. Now what that's doing is it's getting any tension in this loop and sending it down the cable to release it in the end. Now if you have a really long cable and it's already coiled, it's actually gonna be sending those twists to that next coil, and it's gonna get even tighter and harder to remove, which is why you should always be stretching these cables out and making sure they're untangled before you try this. You should also make sure that it's not plugged in on the other end, because if it's plugged in the other end, then you're sending all of that tension you're releasing straight down into where it's plugged, which means it's going to be going, I'm plugged in, don't do this, explode. Who gave me this job of trying to explain things? If you are going to have it plugged in, what I always suggest is start at the end that's plugged in. That way you're not sending the tension to where it's plugged in, you're sending the tension away from it. So if we start with a pinch and twist, pinch and twist, this is one where you're gonna fight. You're gonna fight it a lot because you're sending that tension down. As you can see, it's already building up the tension here. Now, it's also really important to keep these rolled properly because they are also longer. They're gonna be going over further distances, and you can also feel that tension in them. There we go. Now you got a nicely rolled SDI cable ready to be plugged in and walked away from. Now, last but not least, and this is really just for our own OCD's sake, it's always just nice if you just put the Velcro in between the two ends, so it's nice and even. It just looks nicer, and when you look nice on the outside, you feel nice on the inside. So that's how you roll a cord. Thank you for joining us on this Tutorial Tuesday. Tune in next week for more tutorials on Tuesdays.